People always say, you'll know when your dog is sick. But the truth is, most of us don't. We mistake their strength for resilience and their silence for peace. They adapt to pain in ways that make us believe they're perfectly fine. And by the time we notice something is wrong, the story has already been unfolding for a long time. Today, I'll show you the subtle signs no one talks about, but every owner should know. If you find this eye-opening, feel free to like the video and subscribe so we can uncover more together. Number 1. Unexplained shaking or trembling. Have you ever noticed your dog trembling for no reason and wondered why it felt so out of place in the moment? It's one of those things you try to explain away. You tell yourself it's excitement or maybe a draft in the room. But something about it lingers in your mind. When a dog shakes without cold, fear, or any clear trigger, it's often their body trying to speak in the only way it knows how. The tremor might start small, almost easy to miss, but when it keeps showing up, you begin to feel that quiet pull in your chest that tells you something deeper might be happening. Sometimes it's their way of coping with internal pain, or a fever rising under the surface, or a nervous system working harder than it should. Other times, it points toward inflammation in their digestive system, or an infection you can't yet see, especially as they grow older and their body loses a bit of the strength it once had. And even though the shaking may look subtle, it's often the earliest warning their body gives, one of the few signs they can't hide, no matter how much they want to stay strong for you. Number 2, repeated vomiting of bile or yellow foam. It's uncomfortable to admit, but many dogs show signs of illness long before we take that first episode of yellow vomit seriously. You see it once and brush it off, because dogs eat strange things and their stomachs react in strange ways. And it feels easier to believe it's nothing. But when that pale yellow foam appears more than once, especially when their stomach is empty, there's a kind of heaviness in the moment that's hard to ignore. It's their body trying to tell you that something isn't settling right deep inside. Something their energy can't quite fight off alone. That bile can be a signal of irritation in the stomach, or pressure on the liver, or an infection slowly building where you can't see it. And the difficult part is that many owners normalize it, without realizing that this pattern often begins quietly, long before the real problem shows itself on the outside. It's only when you look back that you understand how these small episodes were never just random. They were the body's early attempts to ask for help. Number 3, changes in gum color. It helps more than you'd expect when you know how to read the color of your dog's gums. At first, it seems like such a small detail, almost too simple to carry any real meaning. And yet, it reveals things their behavior hides. When you gently lift their lip and see that soft pink you're used to, there's a quiet sense of relief. You feel like things are okay, at least in that small moment. But when the color shifts, even slightly, it creates a feeling in your chest you can't quite shake. Because pale or gray or deep red gums say what your dog can't. They hint at problems moving beneath the surface. A body struggling with low blood or toxins, or a heart that's working harder than it should, or lungs that aren't giving enough air. And the strange thing is how quickly this tiny change can reveal something big, something their posture or energy hasn't shown yet. It's one of those signs that feels almost too quiet for what it means. But once you've seen it, you understand how much their body has been trying to tell you without a sound. Number 4, changes in water intake. It's easy to overlook how much water your dog drinks, mostly because it feels like such a normal, everyday habit. But then there's that moment when you realize the bowl is empty again, far earlier than it should be. And a small worry settles in before you can talk yourself out of it. Or maybe it goes the other way, and the bowl stays full all day, untouched, as if their thirst has quietly disappeared. Both shifts carry a kind of weight, because drinking is one of the most instinctive things a dog does. And when that rhythm breaks, their body is usually trying to manage something deeper. Drinking more can be their way of compensating for rising blood sugar, kidneys under strain, or an infection warming their body from the inside out. Drinking less often means they're already tired, or hurting, or fighting something that leaves them too depleted to care about thirst at all, which can slip into dehydration faster than most people realize. And once you start paying attention to this small habit, you see how clearly it reflects what they're feeling, long before the bigger signs appear. Number 5, difficulty getting up after resting. You notice it most in those quiet moments, when they rise to greet you. Only this time, their body hesitates before it follows their heart. At first, it almost looks like they're just waking up slowly, the way anyone would after a long nap. But something about the strain in their movement feels different. There's a pause, small but unmistakable, where they gather themselves as if every muscle needs a moment to agree. And when they finally push upward, you can almost sense the effort it costs them, the way their joints or spine or tired muscles protest in silence. Sometimes it's age, but not always. Sometimes it's pain they've learned to live with, or inflammation that's settled in overnight, or fatigue from an infection still working its way through their system. Even young dogs do this when something hurts inside and they don't know how to show it any other way. And once you've seen that quiet struggle, it becomes impossible to forget how hard they try to stay strong for you, even when standing up feels heavier than it should. Number 6. Changes in walking or movement. You might catch it in a single moment, your dog taking a step that looks just a little off, as if their body is choosing a gentler path without telling you why. At first, it seems harmless, the kind of thing any dog could do after lying in an odd position or running too hard the day before. But then it happens again, and the slight limp or slower pace carries a quiet message you can almost feel more than see. Dogs are experts at protecting the places that hurt, shifting their weight, shortening their stride, or avoiding movement altogether so they don't reveal too much. And the more their body tries to shield itself, the more their spirit seems to dim around the edges, as if they're navigating the world carefully instead of freely. Underneath these changes, there can be sore joints, swelling you can't see, or nerves struggling to send the right signals, all working together to make each step feel heavier than the last. And even though the change may seem small in the beginning, it often grows like a shadow, one that shows up every time your dog tries to move through the day the way they used to. Number 7. Whining when touched or during activities. It often starts with something so small you almost talk yourself out of noticing it. A soft sound when you lift them, a hesitant whine when they settle into your lap, a tiny protest hidden inside a familiar gesture. You want to believe it was nothing, just a moment of surprise or a little stiffness from the way they were resting. But the sound stays with you long after it fades. Dogs don't complain easily, and when they do, it's rarely for attention. It's because something inside them hurts in a way they can no longer hide. You see it when they stop jumping onto the couch they've claimed for years, or when they pause before playing, unsure if their body will betray them again. That quiet whine is their honesty slipping through, their muscles aching, their joints inflamed, or something deeper pressing against their comfort. Sometimes even something far more serious, growing where no one can see. And once you hear that sound for what it is, you realize it wasn't drama or sensitivity at all. It was their way of telling you they need help, in the only language they've ever had. When you start seeing your dog's subtle behaviors for what they are, the connection between you shifts into something even more honest. You're not just their owner. You're the person they trust to notice the things they can't say out loud. And that awareness becomes the quiet promise you share with them, one built from attention, patience, and care. Being close to them like this doesn't require perfection, just the willingness to look a little closer. And once you do, you'll start to recognize another side of this bond, the way they communicate their love in soft, unexpected ways. There's a moment every dog shows that proves they feel safe with you, and discovering it can be surprisingly moving. If you'd like to see what that moment looks like, you can continue with the next video.